don't know if I'd say measuring stick, but I think just this week the teams that have been playing, obviously we're just playing against the best teams in the West. So for us, it's just a matter of just putting consistent effort forward.
How has the emotion of this week been? Because it seems like it's been all over the board. A big game on Tuesday, lined up on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's just that's part of it. You know, that's the ups and downs of this league. I think for us, it's just a matter of just refocusing. You know, you can't say, oh, you know, we're one team one day and we're another team the next. I think it's finding how we just continue to get better in our process, what we can take away from both games, positive and negative, and then just try to come out ready to play.
When you're this early in the season, is it good to have a moment like that where the up and down almost kind of is a roller coaster of like you said, emotions and effort and stuff like that, and it kind of plays itself out in the season? Is it good to experience that so early on?
I think it just shows us how quickly we have to be ready to adapt. I think having both those teams on the back-to-back, just two different styles of play. One's heavy ball, one's heavy isolation. So I think just us just constantly staying in that frame of mind of the level of physicality that we have to play, but just how do we help each other as a team move forward every time.
What did you make of just the Clippers and the talent that they added in your first kind of look at them with James Harden?
I mean they played well on both sides of the ball. It's probably their best game this season they played against us. So for us, we see them in a couple more weeks. So get back to the tape, look at that, but just see what we can take from that game and apply to the Nuggets.
What are you just kind of most encouraged by with this group so far as you reach? You're not even about 20 games in now, and where you kind of think about this team that maybe you didn't at the beginning?
It's constantly just seeing our depth, different guys starting at a different time. I think we've seen that throughout the season with whether it's Keon, whether it's Sasha, those two guys that bring up, but just a variety of people just stepping up in different ways, helping us contribute. I think that's going to be big for us as the season goes on. Everyone finding that rhythm, knowing that we have a lot of guys. Some guys may be in rotation, some guys may not, but we're going to need everybody.
Harrison, what's your thoughts about the defense thus far, in these 17 games? It appears that, there's a team concept of doing things on the floor together.
I think if you look at the numbers, we've improved from last season, but there's still a lot of room that we can grow. We definitely want to be, one of those teams that's knocking at the top 10. Those are the best teams in the league. The top 10 defense. So for us, that's our goal. We're going to work towards that. Give our best effort.
You guys have had some games where you've been pretty good. Some losses where you guys lost by a lot of games. Have you noticed a theme in those? How do you kind of explain that?
I think a lot of it starts with turnovers. Whether it's live ball turnovers or just forced shot selection. That just fuels teams to make runs. It's hard to defend against those type of possessions. For us, it can be very deflating. So I think really just us taking care of the basketball. Taking good shots is going to put us in a position to be able to set our defense, be able to try to generate shots.
Look at the Denver team you're going to face. There's a lot of similarities between you guys as far as like the way you run the offense, the big man, all that stuff. Is there things you can take from them? They're maybe a year ahead of where you guys have been in their development as a team. But are there a lot of things you can learn from playing against a team like that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is what we saw in the playoffs last year, just the experience and the continuity. They have so many different wrinkles that they have in their offense, especially when it gets late game when you watch them. Just different things they don't have to say. They kind of just have reads off each other. They know how they're going to operate. They know different schemes, different scenarios that they've been through. So I think for us in our group, getting to those layers, it hasn't quite been perfected yet. We're still working through that, trying some different things this year that we've had some success with. So for us, it's just continuing to grow in that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, H.
But it just feels like it's been a roller coaster ride a little bit.
Not really, it's games. It's the NBA schedule. We play a game, we win a game, we lose a game. Just move on and try and be better for the next one.
Where are you at? You haven't been as consistent as you were last year, just a little bit up and down. Is it just the matchups, or is teams making adjustments? Where are you at with that?
I don't know what you mean by that question, but I go out there and try and play my best every game. You know, sometimes you make shots, sometimes you don't. Sometimes what we're doing on offense is different.
You're right around now 20 games into the season for your team. What kind of stands out about you guys, and what are maybe the biggest difference you see from what you guys were able to accomplish last year?
I feel like we maybe played a bit faster last year, but you know, we're harping on that in practice. We're working on it. You know, I feel like we've been better on defense, but not consistently. So that's where we can't really run out and transition and be ourselves. Also, our offense we're trying to pick on mismatches more this year. You know, which means the game slows down. We're not just playing freely and going at whoever. You know, we're slowing down, making sure we're getting this person on that possession. So obviously that creates everything else to go slow.
Obviously, that's a work in progress and evolution that you'll kind of talk. Is there, you go like 5 games, and do they recalibrate that offense, or is it like
no, I don't know. You know, we just started doing that like 5-6 games ago. You know, and I believe it's because you know, we're also looking for a head into the postseason. You know, and that's the type of basketball we're gonna have to play sometimes. You know, so the more reps we can get in it now, it's gonna be better.
And you guys have so much home games in this month of December, and I remember last year how December was such a crucial month for you guys. You guys really kind of created some separation, if you will, in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of look at that? I know it's a game by game situation, but do you look at those saying, you know, 14, 15 games, whatever it is at home over the past few weeks, and then what's ahead? Do you look at that and having to capitalize on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, at home we always have to have a winning record. You know, and like you said, we have 14, 15 games at home. We should definitely be on the higher side of winning games this month. So that definitely is a goal, but we got to go one game at a time.
Coach has been complimentary of your verticality. How do you feel like you've progressed as a defender this year?
You know, I don't know. You know, I just go out there, try and do my job. You know, every day I do, every day, every game. You know, you're just trying to do the right reads and make the right reads. You know, maybe with time it gets easier. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
So when you guys have lost this year, it seems like you guys have gone down a lot. You know, in the last couple of games, you've been down a lot of these huge deficits. Is there a common thing when you guys are struggling? Like, what's happening? How do you explain that?
I just feel like we just stop doing all the little details. You know, we're obviously fatigued or tired or whatever you want to call it, and we don't do the little things, and then that obviously catches up to us. Our offense is very flowing offense where there's a lot of things are on timing. So if we don't do the little things to get open or whatever it may be, it just throws off everything, and teams are starting to scout us and trying to make us do our counters. You know, so that's something we definitely have to go through. Where last year we didn't have that during the season until we got to playoffs.
We were talking to Harrison, and he was saying that like a team like Denver, they've been together so long that you're starting to see more and more layers to their offense. Do you feel like you guys are slowly getting that as well, where just the continuity of being together for a year and a half?
Oh yeah, of course. That's why I said we're starting to pick at mismatches. You know, coaches trusting us to throw that out there. You know, but then it obviously comes with other things like slowing down our offense because we're going at someone. You know, so it's super early in the season. The more we can do that, and we actually get to do that. You know, when we do need to do that in the postseason, we'll be able to do both.
Do you enjoy the matchup with Jokic? I mean, got a guy who obviously has every tool in the bag offensively, and you're a guy that obviously has a lot of unique skill sets for a big man. What's that like when you go up against a guy?
Oh, of course. You know, he's the best big in the league. You know, the best player in the NBA, and as a competitor going against that, you know, you always wake up a bit more motivated, you know, than going against any other team. So yeah, you know, he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of a kind. So I mean, if you're not excited to go up against someone like that, then you shouldn't be playing the sport.
And what do you see from Keegan? Obviously, he's trying to work his way back. Second practice now. You pretty encouraged by what you're seeing from him?
Oh yeah, you know, he's great. You know, he's taking his time, making sure he's healthy. You know, we don't want any setbacks. You know, especially with him. So you know, whenever he's ready, we'll be there waiting.
What do you miss more about him? His defense, his offense, or mainly both?
Just everything. You know, Keegan on the court does a lot. You know, he's like you said, he opens the court, spreads the court for everyone. You know, he's still kind of our rook, so we obviously want to do good. So anytime he's on the court, there's that, I don't know, that feeling where we just want to play better, you know, to get him in good spots.
You mentioned Jokic is the best player in the game. What makes him the best player in the game in your eyes?
I mean, can't really stop him. You know, he can do everything from pass to shoot to drive, mismatches. I mean, we saw last year in the playoffs they tried to throw everything at him, and he just kept producing. So
You worked pretty long over there. Any added focus or emphasis or anything you're trying to work on in particular?
No, just everything. You know, we had a day off yesterday. You know, so just trying to get reps in.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thanks.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.
I apologize to all you.
I know you pretty much wait for the medical staff to give you the green light on Keegan, but you have 2 practices with him. What's maybe the most encouraging sign with him right now?
You mean I had 2 practices like the time before, like
Over this,
practice?
yeah.
Oh, I couldn't tell you if he made it through the whole first practice or not, but I think he made it through the whole practice today. So I guess that's encouraging.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
But it's still kind of up in the air in terms of how going forward. And I mean, I remember he talked to us on Monday how it was kind of come down to pain tolerance for him and things like that. Is it?
Yeah, I haven't talked to Keegan. I haven't talked to the medical people. So for me to kind of speak on it, I mean, he got through the whole practice today. I didn't, you know, I mean, just like, I don't know if he made the whole practice before, but like I couldn't say, well, he looked this, or to me, he looked the same both times, you know, so so I wouldn't be able to give you guys anything concrete on that. I'd be guessing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How helpful will it be to get his positional versatility back?
Is what?
Positional versatility that he gives you guys.
No, you know, I mean, anytime you're missing your guys, you know, I think we beat Portland and Oklahoma City before Fox came back, and guys are out, next man up. Gives guys more opportunity to play. But at the end of the day, we want Foxy back. At the end of the day, we want Keegan back. So we're a better team with those guys at the end of the day. So anytime anybody's out, we love to have them back as opposed to continue to be out. But you know, there's a process that we go through that we have to make sure that we adhere to.
Mike, Domal said that you guys, sort of the next step in your evolution on the offensive end is you're starting to take advantage of mismatches and trying to search out mismatches. Just how is that, like, trying to build out an offense like this where you're adding new layers all the time?
You know, it could be good if it's done the right way, you know, and so I you know, I'm real cautious, I guess, about that because we didn't do it much last year. But you know, there are guys on opposing teams, just like there are probably guys on our team, that you want to make sure that they're working on both ends of the floor and they're not sitting there and not being as involved when they're on defense. And we have ways to do that in our flow, and hopefully our guys will be able to, as time goes on, to be able to pick that up on their own while in flow. Because the last thing I want to do is get up there and call plays. Hey, no, go. I hate doing that, and I'm sure players hate that happening as well. So with the way that our offense is, especially with our flow offense, we can get everybody and anybody involved that we want to be involved and have to work, but we just have to be able to recognize where they are and pick it up on the fly so that it's seamless and we're still able to play fast while doing so.
Is that tough, like with growing pains in that area, like to keep guys like make sure they kind of see the bigger picture of all of this?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a group that hasn't experienced anything, and you know, I said this at the beginning of the season. You know, everybody thought that last year was a great year. No, it was okay. You know, we did what we were supposed to do. We made the playoffs. We got knocked out in the first round. And so again, I will say for me, and I think for most guys in that locker room, if not all of them, at the end of the day, when they hear it that way, we wanted more than that, and we definitely want more than that this year. But it's kind of a catch-22 because everybody's saying how great we played last year, and so now if we do something a little different and it doesn't feel like it's working, it's like, well, what we did last year? Well, we didn't do what we wanted to do, and we made the playoffs, but we didn't get past the first round. So it could be a little tough for some guys to kind of, I don't know, fully embrace right away. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm a firm believer that anytime you want to try to go from good to great, you're going to have to make changes. You know, you can't just run it completely back the exact same way. And when you make those changes, sometimes you make drastic ones, sometimes you make small ones. But every time you make a change, you kind of roll the dice because it's either going to work or it ain't going to work. but you got to let him marinate, give him some time,
Okay.
before you make the change. So.
When you look at some of these losses you guys have had, I mean, 4 of the 7 have been by 14 or more, a couple of big deficits the last couple of games. Has there been a common theme when you guys are struggling in these losses that you've noticed at all?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, we played 2 back-to-backs and didn't do well in the back-to-back situations. I guess that for sure is one thing. But then, on top of that, I mean, I think all the games we struggle to defend and we struggle to score. I mean, I know it probably sounds simplistic in an answer that most people don't want to hear, but that's just the truth of it. We couldn't get anything going on either end of the floor, right? You have to be able to be good at one most times, and that's why, in my opinion, it's easier to defend because the shot's not going to always go in, even if you're moving the ball on the floor, space correctly, and all that other stuff. The shot's not going to always go in because one of the meetings I had was with our analytics coach, Robbie Lemons, really, really good, and he said our shot profile is really good. We're taking the right shots. Well, you can take the right shots all you want, and if they don't go in at a pretty high level, at certain times it's going to be hard to win if you're not defending. And that's why one of the reasons that I liked our game against Portland, because we took some good shots. They weren't going in, but we found a way to get stops. I think we won that 102, 100 or something crazy like that. That's what it's going to have to take from time to time. You can always give the effort, communicate, do the things that you need to do defensively to try to get a stop. But you don't have as much control over whether or not that shot goes in.
That shot profile, does pace, speed, the way you guys want to play, and obviously it's kind of fluctuated. Domas was talking a little bit about that as well. Is that factor into some of those things as well with what he was showing you with the analytics side? And
yeah, I mean, we talked about everything analytically, and the one thing that stands out is our pace isn't good in the full court, and a lot of that has to do, we have a lot of guys wanting to come back to the ball and push the ball themselves instead of, last year we were great at recognizing, okay, who got the rebound, and if I was the nearest guy as I'm starting to break up the court, nobody else came back to get the ball. Everybody else sprinted to corners, and we don't have a ton of guys that are running. They think they're running, but they're not running because they're just kind of looking back for the ball because they want the ball, and so it messes with our spacing and transition and our timing and a lot of other stuff too.
Domas had mentioned something about one of the themes being attention to detail.
Yeah.
Would that be more because of fatigue or more because of just really just not being focused coming into some of those losses that we've seen?
I don't know. You'd have to talk to him because I don't know what context like he kind of used in and what he said before and afterwards. I know for us just as a group, one of the things that I had said to them is, in order to go from good to great, it's a lot harder. Like to go from where we are to a good team, it's easier because there's just so much. There's so many different things, so many areas you can improve in. And if you improve a little here, you're going to be a good team. But now, once you're here, to try to get to here, you got to look for all of the inches or centimeters or millimeters and find ways the small ways to be better here, to be better there. And so one of the things that I mentioned training camp dinner night, and I've mentioned before, is we have to lock in and focus on the details in order for us to make that leap, and that's on both sides of the ball. So I think that's big just in general. I wouldn't say that in our losses that's been the only common theme or factor of why we're losing.
Domas has had an up and down season. I mean, we're used to him being so consistent statistically, and that just hasn't been the case. And I know like the energy and the effort is still consistent, but the productivity hasn't been as consistent. Is there something that teams are doing to key in on him? Is there a way to help him out and take some of that stress off, or is it just he's got to fight through and we'll see how it goes by the end of the season?
No, there's some things that we feel because Domas is really, really good in the pick and roll game and the DHO game rolling and putting that back shoulder into the defense and still finishing. But we have to find ways to get ball reversals and then have that happen, because a lot of times, and I walked through this with the guys at the beginning of practice, when you try to score on the front side of your actions and the defense doesn't move, now the defense is sitting there and it's taken away from Domus's steam rolling downhill because the big's already waiting for him, and then there's other bodies in there. When you move the ball from side to side, when you get ball reversals, the defense has to shift over here, and then they got to shift back over here. Now you get into your pick and roll or your DHO action, and you've got to cover more ground to come back and stop the ball or stop the roller, and so trying to increase our ball reversals while our spacing is on point is something that we talked about before practice.
Do you feel like having a passing big of your own helps you prepare for going against one, like with Jokic?
I never thought of it, but probably, just like when we go live, we usually have 3 teams, and especially with Alex being out, our third team, we rotate that 5 spot between Sasha and Trey. So it gives JaVale and it gives Domus an opportunity to guard, pick and pop bigs. And so, I feel that that's helped those guys in this situation and helped our team in this situation. So, so I'm sure to a certain degree, yeah, it probably helps too.
All right, thank you.
Niners,
Oh,
Eagles.
my.
What's it? Ain't even, let's go. Niners. Close. Thank you.